Everyone who belongs to the co-op must walk 2 hours and 45 minutes within every 4-week period. There are many kinds of walk a member can do. You can stock produce, but there is also a child care room, so you can read a story to a child.
I can't find any stories up high.
You can bring a bunch of half-rotten produce to the local garden compost, or research which foods contain genetically modified organism, as known as GMO. You can also organize a special event to bring the members together.
I actually really love coming to work here. It's really different than what I get to do with my day job, which is sitting and writing all day. So it feels good to come out and get some exercise.
I actually work 2 shifts because my husband does not like the co-op, and his attitude is that he doesn't want to work for free because he bagged groceries when he was in high school, and he doesn't want to do that.
When you're working your shift, you meet so many people, and you meet people with different desires and different work experiences.
It's because of the work that brings people together, that brings people to realize that it's theirs. That's how they get to the connection of that it's theirs. And if you could get people to think, or even half the people, or 3/4 of people, to think that it's theirs, because it really is theirs, legally, technically, it's theirs. If you get people to feel like it's theirs, then you're going to have a sustainable organization, because people really care.
My name is Marie. We, as food processors, are bagging the bulk items into different amounts and then weighing them and pricing them and then stocking them upstairs so that people can have their dry goods.
Hi, I'm Jason, one of the many shopping squad leaders here, and the shopping squad is responsible for making sure that people are able to pay for what they've bought. The registers, and then we're helping people bag. We also have walkers that help people get to their cars or buses.
What do you think about walking at the co-op?
It's great. I think it's something that everybody should do. It gives you, it puts you in touch with your food, you know, that you're not just buying it off the supermarket, and where it tends to be quite impersonal.
And I do checkout, so that means that when you come, I scan all of your items, and then I will take, your debit card. I enjoy it very much. You meet a lot of interesting people. You discover new products that you never knew existed before, because we all have different tastes. I really enjoy it. I really do.
It would be great if everyone offered to walk without being asked. At the beginning, the founder thought that would happen.
The day before we opened, it was still just the 10 founders.
Okay.
We asked all our friends to come to the co-op the Saturday that we opened. And when people came, we said, please sign up to work next week. Here's this chart. Can we put your name down on the chart for next week? 10 in the morning, 8 in the morning?
Okay.
We thought that everybody would be so excited about the co-op that there would be no problem getting everybody to work. Everybody would be happy to sign up. But it turns out that some people were happy to almost never work, or never work. And they would just keep coming shopping. This is great. And so after a while, we decided to make a work requirement.
I like putting things up on the shelf, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to go up on the shelf, but Miriam asked me to stay in produce. I feel like I'm missing out on putting things up. I see some boxes in the other aisles where I could be putting products onto the shelf, and I feel a little bit like I'm missing out right now, but can't always have the job that you want.
What do you find it challenging or difficult?
I think the commitment to the schedule, because things always come up, and it's been tough to keep my regular schedule.
When you travel a lot, isn't it hard to keep up with work, or are you okay?
Sometimes it is, but I find that if you're responsible about it and tell your squad leader ahead of time, etc., then you get assigned one shift, and then you can make it up later, and
If some kind of conflict comes up, then their first obligation is to find someone to swap with them. We have an online switchboard that a person can utilize. Actually go onto the website and try to find someone who's willing to swap with them by looking at the people who are already listed there, as well as listing themselves. We have a schedule of people who work the same day and same time as the person, but different weeks, that they can call people and ask them to swap with them. But that's their first obligation, because scheduled work is more valuable than unscheduled labor. If they've exhausted all their options in finding someone to trade with them, then the next step is to call their squad leader and notify them that they can't make their shift. And it's up to the squad to decide to give them only one makeup, but the co-op policy is if you're absent, you owe twice as much work for your scheduled work.
People's schedules change, so the managing system must be designed to keep up with these changes. There are binders that list which work slots are available. There is a form to fill out to sign up for a work shift. There is a form if a member needs to take a leave of absence. There is another form if a member wants to swap their shift with another member. The managing system is like a boat trying to float on the rapidly changing waves of people's varying circumstances.
You're on alert.
At the entrance, we all have to present our IDs. Everyone's work status is kept on file. The guard, who is also a member, tells us if we can shop or not, depending on our work status. And if you're not on top of it, things can go wrong very quickly. What was the maximum amount of makeup did you owe before?
I think it probably got up to about 4.
Oh, wow.
Which is, that's pretty much like 2 days of working. But, it depends on you. My shift manager was, pretty understanding. And so I think I was even able to get 1 or 2 things removed from that. You get breaks here and there if you can just kind of explain your story.
At one point I had 18. And you know what I think, Iki, is that the whole thing doesn't make sense because the amount of members that they have right now, they have so many members, and yet you still have to do 45 more minutes.
Like, it needs to be a little bit painful to be at the co-op, or there'll be too many people here and it'll die. So I think the main purpose of having to work so much is that. Because I don't think usually when you work, there's 3 people doing one job. So.
It's been kind of tight, actually, now even on the weekends. Like,
it says no opening.
No openings. These penciled in people are from the waiting list. So the people go on to, first they choose a slot, then they go onto a waiting list for the slot they really want. And that's how they get a work slot, pretty much in the evening, Monday through Friday. So.
I think the co-op has a little bit of a difficulty right now managing its labor because we've gone through such a big growth spurt. There's so many new workers and so many new members proportionally now that have not been a member for very long that there are different expectations as to having, what the work slot experience is going to be like. And so I think that a lot of the new members, or many new members in the last few years, have become a little frustrated. You see that in the meeting a lot. People think, oh, well, we're working too much. We've got so many members now. Why don't we cut back our work obligation? That's a big thing all the time. And it's never really been proven that that's that's okay yet, because partly because I think we're still sort of figuring out how to deal with 5,000 more people than we did have, 6 years ago.
And one thing that's funny that I find is that when I'm talking about whether something is here at the co-op, whether there's an item, I always find myself saying, do we carry it? Which is sort of weird, but I do it naturally because I feel a certain amount of ownership over the co-op, and that's great. You don't feel that when you go shop at the local supermarket.
I think it's very important to rotate the vegetables, everything, When people feel like stuff moves out of here so fast that you don't have to get too hardcore about rotating, but I just don't understand that. I feel like, it's bound to leave a lot of stuff.
When a co-op offers you two different ways of being a member, work and pay less, or don't work and pay more. Okay? When a co-op offers you that, it immediately sets up a barrier to that person feeling connected. Because even if they take the work option and work with other people, they think they're doing it because they made an economic deal with somebody else. Somebody else is the food co-op. It's not them. It's an other. You see, and to break down that barrier, the only deal you should offer people is join or don't join. And if you join, you have to work, because that's what it means to be an owner. That's where the sweat equity comes in, and that's how you get connected. That's how you get connected to the idea that you really own it, and you're going to really care about it because it's yours, it's not someone else's, and you learn that it's yours from working. I don't think you could learn it's yours from investing money. I don't think people feel investing money. Time is much more precious than money.
So it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher, or work for the MTA. It's like you can't buy your way out of it. So everyone's treated the same, hopefully.
Yeah. When you go to the co-op, there's kind of a role shift, right? You go to the co-op usually to shop, but when you go to work your shift, you're actually there to help somebody.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes up to you and says, where's the neti pot, you may not even know where the neti pot is, and you may just say, listen, I'm just a member, why ask me where the neti pot is? But at that point, I think then you have to think, okay, well, I'm here and maybe I can help this person. And, at that point, I think that you're not just a member, you're a member that's taking a little bit out of your time to help somebody else out.
As a member, I work at the co-op too. Would I do it if it wasn't a requirement? I have a lot of other responsibilities, so I might make the co-op less of a priority. If that happened a couple of times, I would feel more and more distant from the co-op and its community. Having to work at the co-op in order to be a member, for me, is an opportunity to consider labor as participation.